The June 18th, 2026 meeting of the Greasetown Board will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Supervisor McCann?
Here.
Councilman DePonzio?
Present.
Councilman Bernard?
Here.
Councilwoman Miller? Here. Councilman Antelli?
Here.
Would you please stand? Councilman Antelli will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll now have a moment of silent prayer and reflection. Okay, thank you. At this time, I'd like to ask the town board members and Acting Chief Perino to join me at the podium to administer the oath of office to newly appointed officers Ian Spadell and Officer Tyler Peluso.
Ian, you're up first. Welcome, everybody. These are a couple of new officers. One joined our department about 18 months ago. Was a brand new officer. Ian, you can come up. You're up first. Give somebody one hold the Bible. I state your name.
I, Spadell,
Do solemnly swear.
solemnly swear
Support the Constitution of the United States.
to support the Constitution of the United States
The Constitution of the State of New York.
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
And to faithfully discharge the duties of police officer.
and to discharge the duties of a police officer
To the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability,
So help me God.
so help me God.
Tyler Peluso joined our department about 6 months ago. After spending several years with the New York Police Department. I state your name. Do solemnly swear. Support the Constitution of the United States. The Constitution of the State of New York. And I will faithfully discharge the duties of a police officer. To the best of my abilities.
All right, we have several proclamations that we will be reading tonight. The first one will be in honor of Juneteenth.
Whereas on June 19, 1865, more than 2 years after the issuance of the Emancipation Proclamation, Union soldiers arrived in Galveston, Texas to announce that the enslaved African Americans were free, marking a pivotal moment in our nation's history and giving rise to the observation known as Juneteenth. And
whereas Juneteenth stands as a celebration of freedom, resilience, and hope, honoring the generations of African Americans whose perseverance and contributions have helped shape the United States and enrich communities across the nation, and
whereas the observance of Juneteenth provides an opportunity for reflection, education, and meaningful dialogue about our shared history, while encouraging all residents to recognize the ongoing pursuit of equality, justice, and the opportunity for all, and
whereas the town of Greece is committed to fostering a welcoming and inclusive community where diversity is valued, mutual respect is encouraged, and all residents have the opportunity to thrive and contribute to the civic life of our town.
Now therefore, we, Jeffrey L. McCann, Greasetown Supervisor, Councilman David DePonzio, First Ward, Councilman Spencer Bernard, Second Ward, Deputy Supervisor and Councilwoman Amarette Miller, Third Ward, and Councilman Rick Antilli Jr., Fourth Ward, are proud to recognize Juneteenth and encourage all residents to join in commemorating this important day through reflection, learning, and community engagement. All right, and our next proclamation is recognizing Deborah Hughes. Would she please come forward?
Whereas Deborah Hughes served for 18 years as president and CEO of the Susan B. Anthony Museum and House in Rochester, where she dedicated herself to preserving and elevating the legacy of Susan B. Anthony and the women's rights movement, earning her title of President and CEO Emeritus in recognition of her lasting contributions, and
whereas Deborah is an ordained American Baptist minister who studied at Colgate Rochester Crozer Divinity School. Life took Deborah from her birthplace in Albany to Rochester, Oregon, Michigan, and New York City, before bringing her back to Rochester, where she continued to serve and lead with purpose and commitment. And
whereas Deborah has been a steadfast champion for the LGBTQIA+ community, using her platform, her faith, and her leadership to advocate for inclusion, dignity, and equal rights for all people, and has worked to ensure that spaces she leads are welcoming and affirming for everyone. And
whereas Deborah shares the powerful observation that women today are finally seen across the full spectrum of society, from science and government to culture and sports, and are increasingly recognized for their ability to advocate for themselves, for others, and to make a lasting change in the world.
Now, therefore, we, Jeffrey L. McCann, Greasetown Supervisor, Councilman David DePonzio, First Ward, Councilman Spencer Bernard, Second Ward, Deputy Supervisor and Councilwoman Amarette Miller, Third Ward, and Councilman Rick Antilli Jr., Fourth Ward, are proud to recognize Deborah Hughes for her extraordinary service, her deep commitment to the legacy of women's rights, and the lasting impact she has made on our community and our region. Okay. All right, would Amy Romansky please come forward?
Whereas Amy Romansky, a math interventionist at English Village Elementary School, has made a meaningful and lasting impact on the lives of countless students through her dedication, compassion, and commitment to academic excellence. And
whereas, through her work supporting students in mathematics, Amy has helped foster confidence, critical thinking, and a love of learning among her students, while serving as a trusted and valued member of the English Village Elementary community. And
whereas, in recognition of her exceptional service and positive influence, Amy has been named the recipient of the Greece Teachers Association Golden Apple Award, an honor that reflects the admiration and appreciation of her colleagues, students, and the greater Greece community. And
whereas we commend Amy for her dedication to education and from the differences she continues to make in the lives of the students every day.
Now therefore, we, Jeffrey L. McCann, Greasetown Supervisor, Councilman David DePonzio, First Ward, Councilman Spencer Bernard, Second Ward, Deputy Supervisor and Councilwoman Amarette Miller, Third Ward, and Rick Antelli Jr., Fourth Ward, are proud to recognize Amy Romansky on receiving the Greece Teachers Association Golden Apple Award. All right, would Giuseppe Gulino please come forward?
whereas in the early morning hours of June 1st, 2026, a woman sitting in her vehicle outside Denny's on Westridge Road was violently attacked by an assailant who forced his way into her car, brandished a razor blade, and slashed her hand in an attempt to steal her vehicle. And
whereas Giuseppe Gallino, having just finished his work shift and passing by the scene, did not hesitate to act. Giuseppe helped the victim escape from her attacker and physically detained the suspect on the ground until a Greece police officer arrived and took the individual into custody. And
whereas Giuseppe's selfless intervention brought an end to a dangerous and frightening assault, ensured the safety of a neighbor, and demonstrated the kind of courage, compassion, and civic character that makes the town of Greece a stronger and safer place to live. And
whereas, when asked about his actions, Giuseppe simply said that the community needs more people to have hearts, a quiet and humble reflection that speaks volume about the decency and quiet bravery he demonstrated that night.
Now, therefore, we, Jeffrey L. McCann, Greasetown Supervisor, Councilman David DePonzio, First Ward, Councilman Spencer Bernard, Second Ward, Deputy Supervisor and Councilwoman Amarette Miller, Third Ward, and Councilman Rick Antelli Jr., Fourth Ward, are proud to recognize Giuseppe Gallino as a good Samaritan and community hero and express our deepest gratitude for his bravery and willingness to stand up for a neighbor in need. Last but not least, is Steve Canator here. Steve.
Whereas Steve Canator began his service to the town of Greece on February 13th, 1996 as a laborer, and after briefly stepping away to accept a position with the USPS, he found his way back home on January 5th, 1999, ready to continue building a career with the town of Greece and
Whereas Steve's talent and dedication carried him forward, earning a promotion to Maintenance Mechanic 1 in the year 2000, and later to his current title of Assistant Director of Building and Grounds in 2006, a position he has held with skill and pride for the last 2 decades, and
Whereas Steve is known throughout the town of Greece, not just by title, but by name, a familiar and welcoming face to staff and residents alike, whose warmth, humor, and genuine care for town employees have made him a beloved member of the town family. And
Whereas Steve has earned a reputation as someone who can always be counted on, the person who shows up, gets the job done, and can be trusted to handle whatever comes his way with steady hands and a positive attitude.
Now, therefore, we, Jeffrey L. McCann, Greasetown Supervisor, Councilman David DePonzio, 1st Ward, Councilman Spencer Bernard, 2nd Ward, Deputy Supervisor and Councilwoman Amarette Miller, 3rd Ward, and Councilman Rick Antelli Jr., 4th Ward, are proud to recognize Steve Canator on his retirement and extend our deepest gratitude for his nearly 3 decades of dedication and service to the town of Greece. We wish him health and happiness in the years ahead. Leave this here. Okay, we're set. Thank you.
my son's yearbook.
All right, we'll now proceed with the holding the public hearings. We have 2 items on tonight's agenda for public hearings. Public hearing number 1 is the continuation of the public hearing to consider proposed law, local law number 2 of 2026, amending chapter 128 of the Code of the Town of Greece, Historic Preservation, for the purposes of establishing the Town of Greece Historic Preservation Board. This is the public hearing is still open and was continued from the May 21st, 2026 meeting. At this time, I'd like to recognize Scott Copey, Director of Planning and Economic Development, to provide an overview of the status of this item.
Thank you, Supervisor. Just as an update for this evening, I don't think that we're necessarily in a position to be ready to move forward yet, but we wanted to give the board an update on some of the research and work that Kevin and I have done since the last meeting, and kind of give an idea of the direction that we're thinking that we should go, and give you guys some recommendations to chew on, and so that we can, move this forward and get another draft of the law going. So following last month's meeting, we did a re-review of the model law provided by the Preservation League, and we sort of reaffirmed, I would say, that the main structure of that law, the mechanisms that are in that law that provide for designating historic resources, historic structures, for doing the certificates of appropriateness, for granting the hardships and things like that. All of the bones are there. The process for designation, although ours is different than the local law, that process is there. The wording's different. Ours is a shorter version of it, but by and large, we capture all of those main mechanisms. But there are some things that we think that we should include that aren't in our current local law. We've also reached out to the Landmark Society. I've reached out to the Landmark Society. We want to have some time to continue those conversations, and just get some input from some other folks, so that we'll proceed with that over the next month as well. We also did a little bit of research into the certified local government program that was referenced at the last meeting. It's basically a framework between federal, state, and local levels of government on designations. This is the main thing that they do. It's sort of a fast-track process for designations and recommending designations to other agencies. And it comes with some funding opportunities. If you're a certified local government community, there are some funding opportunities which are available to you that wouldn't otherwise be available, and I think we heard a little bit about that at the last meeting as well. It does require, to be certified, it does require that the community uses the model law, and specifically requires that the particular piece of that model law, the main difference, in my mind, the main difference between the way we do things and the way that model law is structured is the idea of, and I don't know if this is the right term, but I'll call it involuntary designations of a landmark status, right? And that's, giving the board the ability to designate a landmark without the landowner's permission, right? So that's sort of fundamental to that, the model law. So that's really kind of the one big difference, I would say, in structure and in the mechanisms. So in just, again, doing a little bit of research, I won't belabor this point, there are just over 1,500 towns, cities, cities, and villages in New York State. According to the State Office of Historic Preservation, there are 175 of them that have preservation laws. So that's about 12%, something like that. 80 of them would qualify for the certified local government certification, local government program, and 70 of them are actually accredited. So 70 of those communities, and townwide or statewide, out of 1,500, 70 are certified actually as part of that program. Some of the things that are in the model law that we think are appropriate, and we're going to put forward a draft of that. The training requirement, it stands to reason that a board that with the responsibilities that this board will have should have a training requirement, just like any other board, like a zoning board or a planning board. So we think that's wholly appropriate. The idea of having liaison board members, to be non-voting, basically, board members, and I know it was mentioned at the previous meeting of having a student member of the board act in kind of that capacity. That would be great, but there could be other organizations as well. So we'll just kind of leave that as a broad sort of thing. Annual reporting, records keeping requirements, and there's some features in the model law that have to do with the open meetings requirements, the state open meetings law. We believe these should be open meetings to the public. They weren't always in the past with the previous board. And so, we think those things are appropriate, and that kind of brings us to the topic of what I call the involuntary landmark designation. So again, 70 out of 1,500 communities, 80 out of 1,500 communities in the state, probably have that ability to do that. And so, the designations are a big deal. To have a designation, as a landmark on your property is a big deal, right? It has implications for what you can do with that property. And our recommendation, I think, at this point is that before we hand off that kind of authority and that responsibility to really, at this point in time, it's an unnamed board, right? So we haven't appointed board members yet. We don't know You know, we don't even have that body, so we don't know what we're dealing with to hand that authority to somebody. And so, you know, I guess what our recommendations at this point would be is that, you know, we structure the law to establish the board, right? That was one of the main objectives of this effort to begin with, is to, you know, have a designated body that deals with this subject matter rather than just having the planning board kind of have those responsibilities. It's a little bit more proactive to have a board that is focused on that issue and has that expertise, and let them get their feet under 'em, right? Let this board get themselves set up. You know, give them the duty, I think, whether we do it, you know, statutorily in the language of the law, or, you know, the town board just directs them to, you know, give them the duty of reviewing and updating our list, right? So we've got a list of 100 or so structures in town that are of interest from, you know, from the town's perspective for landmark designation. And I would say that, you know, the current approach in the town's local law is to get landowner permission, right? So the agreement of the landowner to designate as a historic landmark. You know, and in the time that I've been with the town, there has not been a concerted effort to go out and do that, right? So like an organized effort to, you know, pursue, send out a bunch of letters to these, you know, these property owners and see if anybody's interested. You know, it really has never been that kind of a proactive approach. And so, you know, I think we need to test that for a while, right? So I think we need to reestablish this board. It's not something we've done in many years, almost 10, right? So let's reestablish the board, give them the duty of doing that, and kind of test out the approach that we already have, you know, and proactively though, instead of just kind of sitting back. You know, I think the point's been made. We've got four landmarks in town out of 25 or 30 years that we've had a board or had the law on the books. But there was never really a concerted effort to pursue that. So I think we give them the mandate to do that, and take that kind of approach. It's always a positive interaction when that happens, right? So, you know, some of the what we see as kind of pitfalls of the you know, involuntary designation is that if somebody didn't want it, you know, and then they go to sell their property, you know, is it a taking? I don't know. It's probably not a taking, you know, with the way that, you know, New York state laws are set out, we're allowed to do that, right? But creates potentially negative experiences. It could lead to litigation. But I think more than anything else right now, you know, we don't know, it's an unnamed board. We don't know, you know, who's going to be on this commission. And we kind of want to give them, we're recommending that we give them the opportunity to get their feet under them. And then we're also suggesting that we add to the law a provision to actually authorize that board to review local laws. Not just the historic preservation law, but, you know, review local laws as they relate to historic preservation and provide recommendations to the town board for amendments to those laws. And so, you know, at some point, you know, it could be that the board goes through their exercise of trying to get some voluntary designations. It falls flat on its face, and this commission recommends we take a different approach. I think that's kind of our recommendation as to the way that we should approach this thing now. You know, under our circumstances, given you know, the past history of things, that's kind of our recommendation. Kevin, am I missing anything with that?
No, I don't think I think that was a accurate synopsis of what our thoughts and suggestions are. And again, as Scott mentioned, I don't think we're in any position to move forward with anything at this point in time. So I think the recommendation would be to continue the public hearing, allow us to make the changes that Scott outlined to the proposed local code, do it in a red line manner so that we can post that on the town website, provide it to the board, and let everybody take a look at it, and then come back in July to further comment on it and see where everybody stands with the revised version, taking in some of the feedback that we received last month. But that was kind of the generic thoughts, but certainly open to any other thoughts and suggestions that the board has at this time.
Okay, all right, thank you, gentlemen. We'll now take comments from the public pertaining to this proposal. If there's anyone who cares to speak on the proposal, we'd ask that you use the center aisle, state your name and address for the record. If you have any questions, and I would say this, I think there are a number of people here who are for the second public hearing. Our process is, if you want to state your opinion on anything, we absolutely encourage you to do that. If you have specific questions, what we will do is we will document the questions, and once everybody has had a chance to answer their questions, the applicant, in the case of the second hearing, in the case of this hearing, it would be either Mr. Copey or Mr. Oberden would actually document the questions, and then they would be answered after everybody's had their chance to ask them. So if anybody would like to speak. Okay, Gina.
Hi, Gina DeBella, 224 Northwood Drive. I'm a historic preservation consultant, and I was the former chair of the town's Historic Preservation Commission. I want to thank the town board, staff, and administration for your willingness to listen, explore, and take the time to make sure the town's historic preservation law is the best it can be. I encourage you to make this ordinance as strong as possible, meaning give the town the ability to designate without owner approval. Not only will this truly protect our town's historic resources, but it could also open the door for historic preservation funding, like Mr. Copey mentioned, through the New York State Certified Local Government and other programs. And that, if we're going to do another survey, would help to fund that. Once again, as you work to finalize the law, I encourage you to seek the advice of professionals in the field of historic preservation, like the Landmark Society of Western New York, other local preservation boards, the New York State Office of Historic Preservation, and the Preservation League of New York State. At the same time, I wouldn't want the new board to just come out swinging and designate every historic property in town. Like the creation of the new law, members of the new board need to take their time, learn their responsibilities, and get to know the town's historic resources and threatened historic resources before making any big moves. To assist with this, I strongly support conducting an updated town-wide survey that is recognized by the New York State Historic Preservation Office. I've learned over the years that the Historic Preservation Board can do much more than just designate landmarks. And in the 20 years I was on the board, we did a lot. And Mr. Copey kind of mentioned that made it feel like we didn't do a lot, but we did do a lot. Yes, give the board or the town, and I say the board or the town because the model law says that the board can either designate without owner approval, or they can make recommendations and then to the town board, who then can designate without owner approval. So that is another option. But besides the designation, create a culture that promotes the importance of historic preservation with homeowners, commercial property owners, developers, and especially municipal boards and town employees. So I thank you for taking the time to look into this matter. I look forward to reviewing the revised proposed ordinance when it's available. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to address the board on this topic? All right, there being no other public comments or feedback, I'd like to open up to questions or comments from the town board.
Mr. Supervisor,
Yes.
First I want to give a shout out to Scott and Kevin for the amount of time and effort they put into this, and for our folks who have assisted us, our professional help. It's greatly appreciated, so thank you. Out of the New York State communities that have local laws allowing involuntary designation, how many are there? Was that 80 figure?
Yeah, I think it's 80 would qualify, and I'm using the local government certification as kind of a gauge for that, but 80 would qualify, meaning that there probably are 80 municipalities that have that provision, but only 70 of them are actually certified by the state. So.
And do we know how those communities take that designation? Is there issues that we know of arise out of it, or that we know
Well,
of?
I mean, there was recent situation in Arundecoit, actually, with, with the Titus Tavern property. It's kind of an example of things that can happen, and misunderstandings if it's that, or bad feelings, you know what I mean? So that's an example that's close to home. The state historic preservation folks, and I don't know, maybe Gina knows this, but it's, you have to call and specifically request a list of communities that are certified, and I don't know why they play that close to the vest, but they do. We can do that. We can also reach out to them. We can reach out to Arundecoit and talk with them more about that.
Thank you, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board?
Supervisor?
Yes, Councilwoman Miller.
All right, thank you. Hi, Scott. I have a few. About how long ago was the last designation bestowed? How long ago was the last landmark?
So that's going to be, I think it was 981 Ladder Road. That's the Fleming House. I think I've got that right. It's the brick house on the south side of Ladder Road, just past where Lakeshore Elementary School is on that big property. And that one was actually designated in the process, during the process of rezoning that property. The town board, actually it was planning board approval for the subdivision of that property, because there's a project that's been approved for home development of homes behind it. So it was sort of, I wouldn't say that it was a condition of the approval that they do that, but it was certainly, requested by the planning board that they pursue it, that they agree to do a designation, in the course of getting the property developed. So
Okay.
that's the most recent, yeah.
I have a few more.
Yep.
All right. So I would imagine that if a board designates and bestows this landmark status, that we care to see it through, that it stay that way. Does the town monitor and ensure the structural guidelines of such property?
Yeah, so that's what the certificate of appropriateness process is. So if you're a local designated landmark, and say for instance the Fleming House, the brick house, if they wanted to put an addition on the house and they wanted to side it with wood or vinyl or something like that, they would need to come to the Historic Preservation Board and ask for permission to do that. So they do have a good deal of authority once a property is designated.
One more.
Yep.
All right. In the instance of a board that can bestow this without the property owner's say, how does that board notify this owner, and what is the process of it?
Yeah, so in just about all of the different variations on the way you can do this, there is a process that involves certified mail, a notification, a proper notification, and a public hearing. So, even though in those communities, the community can do the designation without permission, they do have to involve involve the owner of the property and have that open meeting for them to air their, grievances if that's what they have. Yeah, so they would have the opportunity to weigh in on it, but it's a decision that those communities would make regardless, so.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any other questions?
Yes, Mr. Supervisor.
Councilman Antelli.
So, kind of piggying off of what Amoret said, they have the designation power without approval. They go to the public hearing. If that's like the process, does the property owner have at any chance to kill it, or they can come and speak their objections or positivity for it? Does that decision rest with the board? The owner does not have any position, decision?
Yes, they do have the opportunity to weigh in, for sure. Yep, through the
They
public
weigh in,
hearing
but
process.
They can't
They can't say no. They may be able to convince the board that, hey, look, they're, whatever, given whatever the situation is, please don't do this. But ultimately, the board, those communities have the decision-making power. So.
Okay. One more question. So if we were to establish the board without the designation authority, does that make us ineligible for like grants or the money that is actually out there?
It does, but again, you know, it doesn't make us ineligible for all grants. It's just specific grants, right? And, you know, for instance, I think the one that Aranda Quite obtained was $40,000, $50,000 to, you know, conduct a study. You know, there are probably I know that there are other grant opportunities out there that where you could obtain funds to complete work like that. So, you know, I would not base the decision on our eligibility for those grant programs.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, are there any other questions?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Thanks, Scott, Kevin, and thank you, Gina. I appreciate all your comments. Just a couple quick questions. I appreciate that those new items will be in the draft legislation. I just want to confirm, are we going to have language in there about doing an inventory list?
We can, I think, and maybe I'll defer to Kevin on that.
I can get the mic to work, sorry. Yes, as part of the reporting requirements, we can add a provision there that the inventory list be maintained, updated, monitored, reviewed as part of the proposed legislation.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Scott, I know I've asked you this before, and forgive me. Approximately, ballpark, would you say are there properties left in town that would qualify to be designated?
Absolutely, absolutely.
What did you say?
Mother of Sorrows Church is one.
Okay.
That's pretty high on the list. St. John's Church, the original St. John's Church on West Ridge Road. The new St. John's Church, you know,
Yeah,
very
right.
unique type of architecture, you know, very specific architect, and, you know, so there are structures in town that are, in my mind, deserving of the designation.
Is there a process to do that without that? Is there currently a process now to do that? If, say, for instance, if a developer wanted to come in and buy Mother of Sorrows Church, knock it down, and put a gas station there, you know, that would, to me, that would be terrible. Is there a way then to interject and to protect it currently?
I guess in the rawest form, no.
Okay. Okay. Would another way to think about it then versus if we didn't, if there was concern about giving the authority to the board to just designate, because I understand the issues that could it be potentially that if there was a situation like that, a Mother of Sorrows that could be knocked down and a gas station going there, could they then appeal to the town board to do something? The Historic Preservation Board to step in?
Could the owner of the property?
No, could the
step in?
Historic
Oh.
Preservation Board
Oh,
say,
sure.
this is heresy, town board, you need.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what an advisory board is, you know, and this board would be kind of quasi, you know, a board, approving board, you know, so they would have some level of authority for those certificates of designation yeah, but in an advisory capacity, that would be certainly something that they would, I would think, implore the board. And could I take the opportunity to clarify something too?
Yes, please.
Before we move on? I just want to be clear that, yes, the previous Historic Preservation Commission did a lot of work, but they were not granted, they were not empowered by previous administrations to put forward a concerted effort. Just want to clarify that. That's all right.
Thank you. Okay, I appreciate it. Yeah, that may be something, because I do understand I'm trying to, I understand the need of protecting, and I understand the need of property owners' rights, and I get that, and there's a delicate balance there, but in a situation, it was a shame, in my opinion, when the Hotel de May went down. So if there's in certain situations like that, I would like to see if there was maybe a mechanism, so I appreciate that. I appreciate if we can look into that a little bit. And, correct, so training will be part of the local law? Okay, great. And when do we think the next draft will be available for public review?
It should be available by the end of next week.
End of next week?
That's my plan,
Thank you,
yes.
Kevin.
Okay, any other questions or concerns?
Yes, Mr. Supervisor,
Yes.
I apologize. I just had one more question that popped in. Scott, can we give designation authority after the fact? So like, say we go forth and say, okay, we're gonna, initiate this board, we're not gonna have designation authority right now, but say in 6 months to a year, the board's doing great work, we're coming up with challenges, could this board come back and say, okay, we're gonna enact designation? Is that like a big process, or is it just a board
It would be
approval?
just like this.
The
right,
exact
Kevin?
same process you're going through now, it's just a local law. It would be an amendment to the local law.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right, if there are no other questions or concerns, I'd like to call for a motion.
Yes, Mr. Supervisor, I would like to make a motion to continue this public hearing for the proposed local law number 2 of the year 2026, amending chapter 128 of the Code of the Town of Greece, Historical Preservation, to the meeting of July 16th, 2026.
Second?
Okay, moved by Councilman Antelli, seconded by Councilwoman Miller. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item has been continued to July 16th. All right, I will now declare open the public hearing to consider a special use permit to operate a hotel known as M6 Studio, located at 600 Center Place Drive, requested by M6 Studio, Rochester, Greece, USA, LLC. Madam Clerk?
Publication of notice in the Daily Record on Thursday, June 4th, 2026 has been received.
Okay, at this time, I would like to again recognize Scott Copey, Director of Planning and Economic Development, to introduce the applicant for their presentation.
Sorry, yes,
Yep.
thank you, Supervisor. We want to try to get the presentation I think that we're going to see tonight here up on screen. But yes, I can, we have the applicant, I believe, is represented here tonight. And they have a presentation that they would like to provide for the town. Did you want to start with the presentation? Do you want to start with?
Sure,
Okay,
we
yeah.
can start with the
Just-
presentation?
Yeah, if you could just give us a minute to try
Okay,
to get
sure,
it up there.
sure. And when
My
the
email
applicants
is-
do come up, if you could use that podium right there. And also our process. Sorry, let me try that again. Our process for this is the applicant will give, right over here. Right here. Yes. After they give their presentation, we'll open it up to public comment. I would ask the applicants to document all of the questions, and then once everybody's had an opportunity to address the applicant with the concerns, or also document their questions, and then the questions can be resolved after all of the questions have been asked.
Apologize, we'll have your presentation up here in a second. Try to have it up there for you, yeah. That's too late. Town board members have it.
Okay. All right, so we apologize. There are obviously technical difficulties. They will not have a PowerPoint presentation, but they will go through their presentation verbally.
All right. So we'll start.
First, we want to thank the board and the town for giving us the space to speak on behalf of the company. I'm Lamar, I'm the Director of Safety and Security, so I have US and Canada.
All right. I'm Gaurav. I'm from the operations team. I take care of the property operations audit and staff training at this location.
I'm Sumit Chopra. I take care of overall operations, basically, for the Studio 6.
So the basis, I wish we could show everyone the beautiful presentation that we had, but we want to go over a couple of things to improve our commitment to the town, to the city, to all our locations, honestly. We're going to be very transparent. We have issues, right? I have, through my experience working for a city for 12 years and being on the other side of suing multiple corporations in my experience, when I came to the property, I said, okay, we need to work on some things. So we're going to be very transparent. We're not going to sit up here and say that we are perfect. We're not going to sugarcoat this process. We're here to ask for help, what we need to do, and how we need to do it. That is basically how we become great community partners. The biggest concern is what the property looks like, right? The maintenance of the property, the safety, and the neighborhood concern. I have looked through pretty much all of it in my week of being here, and I have changed a lot of policies, and we can get through all that with your questions, whatever questions you have, we can get through all that. Property assessment, I did my own safety, security audit of the property. I did a safety review of the property. I talked to the guests, I talked to staff, I talked to corporate, and I talked to myself through this whole process. So we want to create a liaison. Just to give you back my little background, I said I worked for a city. I was a Dallas police officer for 12 years. So I was the person on the other side. My last position right before I left, I used to have to present in front of council and say, hey, we need to shut this place down, what this place looked like, and give those recommendations. It's kind of odd being on the other side now. But with us purchasing this property March 20th, I believe, March 20th, we purchased 38 of these properties. Well, 30 all at once. So it's been a task of different laws in New York has been difficult because it's not Texas, right? So our biggest problem is how do we create a liaison? How do we be here? Who do we need to talk to? What are the resources? But we have ran into a huge, huge hiccup, and that's evictions, right? That's our biggest concern. The other thing is that we understand that we have a list from the town with fire panels. Those things are completed. We have hired the right personnel to get those things done. We have the documentation that they are completed. But we are having some hiccups with probably like 3 or 4 things. If the city could have just a tad bit more patience with us trying to get that done and hiring the right personnel to get it done that meets the standards. We can hire anyone, but we want someone that can fix it and make sure we don't have to maintain it again. They can do it themselves. But our biggest concern is how do we get rid of people in a timely manner, the personnel. Our goal is to make sure we have corporations come to our property
families come to our property, not long stays. And I have created a policy that's going to eliminate that. So we broke it down in phases. So phase 1 is immediate, the exterior lighting, the landscaping, that will be done, and the signage will be done immediately. Phase 2 is to room, reimbursement, and safety systems, trying to get CCTVs, trying to get the right cameras, get them properly in the right spots, where if law enforcement comes to the property, we'll have that, and if anything happen, we'll be very transparent to give everyone who needs it with the right subpoena, whatever we need, but we are open to sharing videos with law enforcement, being transparent with law enforcement. So we're in full cooperation with what needs to be done. We are trying to be a community-based property, so whatever the city needs, I know when coffee and cops were a big thing for us, having crime watch meetings and community events at properties was like my bread and butter when I used to wear the uniform. And that's how we build those relationships. So that's kind of the thinking of being very much transparent with the city when it comes to what we're doing, how we're doing, and being community partners. And if the board sees that certain things have already been done, like the doors, before and after pictures, and the evacuation plans, those things have been updated and changed.
Fire.
And the fire extinguishers also. Sorry, I ran through, I forgot y'all had it. Any questions, concerns, thoughts? Thank y'all for your time.
Okay, thank you for the presentation. I would like to let people in the audience know, and anybody following along at home, we will have their PowerPoint presentation will be added to our website after the meeting tonight, so that will be available. We'll now take comments from the public pertaining to this proposal. And same thing, if you could please approach the from the center aisle, state your name and address for the record. And if you have any questions, we'll document those questions. We'll ask the applicant to document the questions and then provide the responses after the last speaker has completed their comments. Please know that all questions and comments will be directed through the chair, and keep in mind that we're asking that you keep your comments to approximately 3 minutes. If you need more, that's fine, but given the number of people who I would anticipate that will be speaking tonight, we ask that. And also, I would also just advise this is not going to be a direct answer, question and answer period. Again, ask your questions, they will document them, and then they will all be addressed, and then we'll open questions to the board. So if anybody would like to speak, please approach through the center aisle and state your name and address for the record.
Hello, my name is Mary Zeff. I'm one of the owners of Cobblestone Court, the apartments that is adjacent to the property in question. This has been going on for a very long time with issues with their property. I sent a letter to Supervisor Relic September 19th of 24 regarding the police were called to their property for things that were going on. I'd just like to read part of the letter, just for you, that you know and understand that how long this has been going on. It just says that Rylick knew our company. We've been in the town of Greece building homes for many years and built the Cobblestone Court. As I understand, with people coming from Extended Stay America Complex, It is now a haven for convicts who have been in jail and are living there. These individuals are coming over to Cobblestone asking our tenants for money, checking around cars. We have had a big increase in break-in of cars for the past year, stolen catalytic converters, and now actually talking to my tenants and telling my tenants they are with a gang. My tenants do call police, grease police, and they have been fantastic, but as I do understand, are limited in time to get there. This morning, my tenants told me of an incident that happened last night with them as a person who had a large knife inside his shirt. Police were called, but again, too late to get there. I spoke with Officer Mark Montanarelli this morning, telling him of the problems, how I felt, and that I feel my tenants are in danger due to the people that reside in this extended stay property. He was sympathetic, but also said that they go to extended stay often for several issues because of the type of people who live there. He was going to have some special detail at Cobblestone to help with the invasion of the privacy of my tenants and the cars. In addition, I sent a letter to you, Supervisor. I don't know if you've had a chance to read it.
Yes, I have.
So you're aware of what I did state, that I have been told that someone has been approached, a prostitution, and a person was approached, and that concerns me. I do know that, I don't know what violations, code violations that are, you've instructed against them. I don't know anything about that, but my concern is, and number one, if he's going to clean up the property, I would love that, because we keep our apartments immaculate. You can ask any of our tenants to clean up the inside, because I've been inside there. I have visited there and talked to the managers there about what's going on. And I'm sure the town of Greece and the Greece police are aware of the things that are going on there. I know they are. My concern is, besides the violations, what are they going to do about the illegal things that are going on at the property? That would be my concern.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And just so I can explain our process to everybody, it will be similar to the last public hearing. We'll take your questions, we'll have those answered. Mr. Copey will, Mr. Copey and our team here will give a brief presentation that will have some of the information that you've asked about, and then we'll open it up to questions to the board. So, is there anybody else who would like to address the board on this application?
Hi, my name is Lucille Del Vecchio. My address is 1000G Center Place Drive. I live at the Cobblestone Apartments, as Mary was just saying. Beautiful complex. When you come down the road, every business is very well maintained. This property has been a mess for many, many years. My concern is with everything that goes on. I've been there for 10, 11 years. The constant police presence, fire departments, ambulances, people arguing outside with small children being around, cars, excuse me, speeding into the parking lot late at night with their bass going so loud that my windows literally, rattle from it. And I'm just wondering what you plan on doing. I mean, in my other concern is there's families with children. I see school buses coming in and out. I can only imagine what those kids must be hearing and experiencing, So, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else who'd like
Brendan Bolson, 440 Shorecliff Drive. Good evening, Mr. Supervisor, members of the board. First, I'd like to thank the owners for coming in and speaking with us. The transparency is appreciated. Based on the first speaker's questions tonight, I guess I'd look for want some clarification for everybody here who's here to listen to this presentation. That these are new owners and as of March and not associated in any way with the previous owners of the property. And with that, I'd also say if that is the case, this is a kind of a good analogy for the town board as well. We're looking at, they've had this property now for about 3 months. And well, it takes a while to get up to speed. And from what I hear, the town has been checking in on them. I guess the one thing I would say along from the presentation that we just had, they mentioned something about purchasing 30 properties and possibly biting off a little more than they could chew. If they could afford 30 properties, I guess they could probably afford some more employees to take care of some of these situations and make it a little speedier for the repairs and stuff coming along. Other than that, yeah, I think that's it. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Betty Moikins. I live at 1000 Center Place Drive. I've been there for 13 years, and I'm a frequent caller of the police department, the fire department, and the hotel. I've been a frequent caller for many years, and even though you've taken over 3 months ago, I'm still a frequent caller. There's still so many situations happening there, fighting, drugs, alcohol, sex outside, parents with children that they're not watching. It's very disturbing to have this right outside my front door, and I am also very concerned about how you are going to handle that kind of a situation. I hear you talking about CCTV. I also am wondering what you're planning on doing for the outside of your building, because that's where most of your issues are happening. I've also been approached on the way home several times. They'll come out from the hotel and they'll start begging for money. They'll stop your vehicle in the middle of the street. And they'll line them up. There'll be like 5 people lined up just to try to get home while there's 2 people begging for money. Oh, the hotel gave me a bill. I don't have enough money to pay for it. I need $98. I feel for them, but it shouldn't be our problem to take care of them. It's your situation at this point. Yeah, it's just been difficult to live there, and I'm looking forward to having some peace and quiet moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Doug Warboys, 1048 Long Pond Road. I drove by there the other day, and I know they just got this beginning thing going here, so hopefully we give them some time, and then we can, maybe make some amendments along the way, and so that they can meet certain standards over a certain period of time. I did see, like the landscaping does need to be improved around there. There's a lot of brush and stuff out there that, doesn't give a great appearance to the rest of the complexes around in that area. I did see one car that appeared to be no license plates on it that was sitting there. But like I say, I think we can work with them and give, have them meet certain standards over a period of time. That's all I got to say. Thanks.
Thank you. Is there anything else?
Thanks for taking the time. My name's Katie Clark. I live at 940 Center Place Drive. I live in the Cobblestone Apartments, and I have been approached by people from the hotel. Again, previous owner. But my concern is that this is part of the Motel 6 franchise, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes.
It is, which already has a reputation. As we know in Gates, we have the Motel 6, which has had some serious problems associated with it, I'm sure that you've seen. Also, I did share a lot of my concerns with my councilman, Spencer Bernard, over the last few weeks since this has come to light. I think he's going to ask a lot of the questions for me that I have. Most of my concerns are about the number of 911 calls that I've seen. As an example, over a 7-day period, I was able to research and find 8 calls for the one hotel. When I looked at the other 2 hotels on that street, there was 1 fire call, 1 medical emergency. These ones have disorderly conducts, assaults, warrants for someone who's has a warrant out for their arrest, things like of that nature. And I do want to reiterate something I put in my letter to Spencer, that all of us that live at Cobblestone Court are very aware that we live on a street with 2 very busy restaurants, 3 hotels, and a veterinarian. We're not saying this shouldn't be there. We live there knowing this. We live in a beautiful community back there, but the clientele has changed over the last few years, and I don't see this hotel bringing a different clientele to that establishment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, is there anyone else who would like to address the board?
My name is Tim Tartaglia. I live at 950 Center Place Drive. I've been a resident for 13 years. During the presentation, they did address what an extended stay actually means. So from what my understanding is of this type of hotel, unlike the other 2 on our street, are these tenants, or is this a hotel where we have an extended stay, is like we have the Hilton down the street, which is a suite hotel? That would be my biggest question, is going forward, we know that the previous owner, these were actual people that they had to evict. So there were school buses, people registering in unsafe condition with children living there. Going forward, is this establishment the same order of business, or is it actually an extended stay where families, people are coming in for the week and they're leaving, or are these people who would not qualify for an apartment such as I live in? That would be my biggest concern going forward. Aside from all the other issues that have been presented, that would be the biggest for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board? Yep, please.
Hello, Caroline Shaw, 76 Allerton Street. My husband and I went over there this afternoon just to take a look because, we saw on the news that there was, issues with this property, and we were just concerned, so we wanted to look around ourselves, and we found people sleeping in cars out there, people standing outside. I don't know what she was doing, but she was standing outside. Maybe she was soliciting some work. And then at the same time, we saw a school bus pull up with children getting off at this particular business. And to what that guy just brought up, and I'd like to just want to know the answer to that, are these people that are living there because they can't get proper housing, and this is all that they have is for their children to live in this type of environment or neighborhood? And there was trash everywhere. There was trash outside the garbage can, and it would just it needs to be addressed, and hopefully you'll look into this particular property. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board?
Thank you. Nadine Zernick, 82 Stonehill Drive. I know you guys only got there 3 months ago, and it takes time. I want a safe neighborhood. It's very scary to me to think about the things I've heard about tonight here. And I don't know what amount of time is even being discussed, because I think our community deserves to feel safe. I really do. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board? All right. So now I would like to ask the applicants to address some of the questions that have been raised by the public.
So first, I really appreciate the feedback. This is exactly what I'm here for, is to make sure that these questions and concerns get answered. So the first thing is it an extended stay? It is an extended stay, but I have put in the policy that we're not an apartment, right? The most a tenant could, most a guest can live there is 28 days. With 28 days, they physically have to leave the property within 3 days to a week before we even consider them to come back. That's the first thing. The second thing is the crime. We are dealing with How do we get them out of here? We already hired an attorney, and she's going to do the processing next week. So we're getting rid of the majority of the problem, and I understand the problem because I saw it for myself. I understand who are the bad actors. We're trying to get rid of this is an apartment situation, right? So we have an attorney that's willing to help us to get all these things processed. So we're looking at probably 18 people at the beginning that we need to get evicted. And New York says that we have to give them a certain amount of time, also another time to leave. So it's like a month and a half minimum that we could get the process done. The second thing is what it looks like. For me, it's unacceptable, right? I always look at things and say, will my family stay here, right? So we're going to get the proper landscaping done. We're going to make sure that the building and the outside of the building looks the way that it's presentable. Because I made the comment today. I said, look at these apartments right here. The lawn is beautiful. I said, this is the standard. This is what the standard is. And this is what it's going to be. No exceptions. So we're already working on it.
Working on it, yeah.
We're already getting that done. The prostitution thing, the crime in itself, I'm not going to sit here and say I can solve that, but I need the town's help on that because I'm training the staff on human trafficking in itself, human trafficking and drugs. So we have a human trafficking online training for all staff. We also have partnerships with several federal agencies that are willing to help because I have addressed the FBI about this. How do we solve this, especially on the federal level? What does that training looks like for us? And they're willing to help, so we develop a human trafficking task force with the city of Dallas, Los Angeles County, and the FBI. They're willing to help us develop a nationwide training for that. So that's the other thing.
Basically, people calling 911.
So when it comes to using city resources, I used to be a city employee, so I do not like to get called as a patrol officer all the time. But I encourage our staff, especially with this kind of business, is that we need to be the one, if we see something, we need to say something. And we need to alert the city that we are seeing it. We're not just sitting back in the office typing on computers. To understand those resources, to get all these bad actors out of this hotel. The ultimate goal is to be great community partners. What does that look like? We're here to hear it. We're vulnerable enough to say, we get it, he's living it, I'm getting all the phone calls, and I'm getting on the plane. This is the reason why I've been here for a week, because I wanted to make sure that I was here for this and also see the property in itself. But we're going to definitely
make it a nice place altogether.
Revamp this whole,
revamp it,
and make it presentable to the town, to the board, and to the citizens of this community. Yeah. That is what I've been doing for a long time, probably for 12 years now, and I am committed not only to this property, just for the brand in itself, because I heard it. Motel 6 has a reputation. We're trying to get away from that with putting in all these policies and procedures. And we're doing background checks, we're training staff, all those things. Did I miss anything?
No. I think that was,
Are we allowed to come up and ask another question?
yes, go ahead. And again, I guess part of it, I would like to limit this, but if you go ahead and ask, yep.
I understand what you're saying, and I hope it's truthful. You're allowed to have a business and to conduct your business in the town of Greece. All we're asking is that you clean it up, and I'm asking the board to give them a certain amount of time to clean this up. I think everyone here does understand what's going on there.
Yeah.
And I know they know. Everyone on this board knows what's going on there. It's been going on for a long time, as I said. And Rylick didn't do much about it. I mean, he did try to he did have police presence there and such, but I think it's an awful thing for the town of Greece to have something like that here. And I would like the board to just give them a certain amount of time, and if it doesn't change, then it's up to you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so if I could let you be the last person, please, and then what we will do is we'll have Mr. Copey and our team will sort of go through a timeline of what we've been involved in from the town's perspective, and then we will open it up to questions from the board.
I just
So-
want some clarification about the eviction process. When I go to a hotel, I have a key card or a key to get into my room. And if I don't pay for that room the next day, the card doesn't work, the key doesn't work. I can no longer stay. I don't believe I can squat in a hotel room. How do you need to have an eviction process for people that are paying by the week or by the month or by the day? Can't you just deactivate their cards?
Yeah, and again, I want to avoid a direct back and forth, but yes, go ahead, please.
Yes, so, to be honest with you, that was my initial thought, was like, let's just lock them out, right? Because in Texas, you can have an emergency eviction 24 hours. In New York, you can't. I have talked to the sheriff department, I have talked to, even the attorney that we have put in place, he said you can't, it's illegal to do so. So if that person refused to come out that room, we cannot physically remove that person. They can stay in there, and we have to go through the legal process. So to avoid that, we have came up with a policy. If they book for a week, the sheriff instructed, if they book for a week and they refuse to leave, we can call right then and there and get them removed. The problem is we didn't understand that part because a lot of these people came from extended stays. So they've been here for a long time. So us coming in as the new owners, it doesn't start over. They already have the right because they've been there. So we inherited a bunch of that. So now we have to spend a bunch of money to get it all correctly. So that's what we're facing. It's not something we're just kind of, well, these people aren't paying us. Frankly, we're losing. So what we're saying is that we inherit this, and now we're just in the process of like, hey, we just got to,
Again, we need to invest money
to get them out. So that's what we're dealing with, to be honest with you.
Okay, all right, thank you. So what I would like to do now is call on Mr. Copey to give a timeline of what's going on. But before he does that, I want to just acknowledge Acting Chief Perina, Mr. Copey, Mr. Funataro, the building inspector, Fire Marshal Bowers, and our attorney, Kevin Oberton, and Chief of Staff, Molly Clifford, have been working very diligently on this over the course of the last couple weeks. So with that, I'll ask Mr. Copey if he can go through a timeline of what's happened, and then what we'll do is we'll open it up to questions from the board. And I'm sorry, Scott, before you go, actually, even if you want to tilt that if you want to tilt that podium a little bit so that it's more, I'm sorry, we should have done that before the, so that you're more facing so we can, perfect, thank you. Mr. Copey.
Thank you, Supervisor. So our initial interaction with the applicant was in March. March 20th, I believe, was the date that they had closed on the property, that the deed was signed, and they hung up a new sign. And by March 24th, we had reached out and informed them of the need for local permitting, a tenant permit that's issued by the building inspector, and a C of O ultimately that would be issued, in follow up to that, and then of course the special use permit that's issued by this town board. So we made them aware of that in late March, and worked with them through April and into early May to try to get application materials together. it's not unusual for this to happen, where somebody steps into a business and they didn't know they needed the local approval. This is what we do, we typically will work with them and help them through the process, which we did. So in April, early April, there was the fire marshal did an annual inspection that they do, and they identified 18 fire code violations. The majority of those have not been resolved yet. Extensions have been granted on resolution of those issues, and the fire marshal's office is doing daily inspections of the property. And so we haven't had much movement on that, and those issues include, some fire alarm and sprinkler issues early on that have to some extent been addressed, but exit signage, fire extinguishers, there's dryer vent issues and a number of other things. And that the deadlines, again, to resolve those have been extended multiple times. A notice and order was issued by the building inspector on April 28th. And that's a notice that you're out of compliance and in order to comply for failure to pursue the local permit. So at this time, we've been working with them for over a month. The delays, I think, the applicant cited some staffing changes during that period of time. And so, ultimately, without seeing some progress, we issued an order to either come into compliance, or I say we, building inspector issued an order to either come into compliance or close the hotel by May 8th. And this got some degree of attention. This is when we resolved a handful of those fire code issues, and sorted through some legal issues to try to make sure that we had a responsible person as the applicant signing forms and things like that. So there was quite a bit of gyrations in order to accomplish all of that, but we ultimately did within days of that closure date of May 8th. So the hotel was allowed to continue open. We were then in a position to be able to schedule tonight's public hearing. In the meantime, we've become aware that the Monroe County Health Department has a number of unresolved health code violations having to do with pest control, trash pickup, leaky plumbing, among other things, and also that the health department has not issued yet an operating permit for this applicant to run the hotel. Ongoing property maintenance and site plan compliance inspections continue to flag the same things. We're making slow, if progress at all, on things like that. I believe we've got a push mower out there mowing the grass rather than a contract that you would normally have under those circumstances. So that's been an issue. Trash pickup has been inadequate. Some of that has come to a resolution, but there still is litter throughout the site, tall grass, unlicensed vehicles. I think that was mentioned. There's more than one that haven't moved in a long time. The volume of 911 incidents, and so that's going to include police and fire and EMS responses, continues to outpace all other hotels by a wide margin. All other hotels in the town of Greece. It places an outsized burden on those response services. And the incidents include some of what we've heard tonight. Domestic violence, disturbances, drug overdoses, prostitution, indeed, loud music, among other things. So all of the things that I think we're hearing about tonight, those are validated in the police reports for those incidents. On reviewing the guest registries, so pursuant to state law, there is a requirement that all hotels maintain a guest registry that reflects who's there and how long they've been there. It's apparent to us that some of these rooms have been, and it's been acknowledged by the applicant. I appreciate that. There's some of these rooms that have been occupied for months and rumored years at a time. So we don't have registries going back a year, but we believe that to be true. Some of the hotel rooms are being used for permanent residency, right? And again, you've acknowledged that here tonight. It's not permitted under state and local rules. I'm a little surprised at the eviction aspect of things. But, you know, we have knowledge of hoarding, squalid conditions, unsanitary conditions that have been noted in at least one of those police reports, a very recent one. You know, and we've here it's June 18th. We've been at this for 3 months, since March 5th, since March 20th. Our understanding is that several of the occupants continue to decline housekeeping services, and this has been told to us by former employees, by the current operators. Again, you know, having acknowledged that. So these areas have been unable, you know, we don't have access to these areas, right? When there's a hotel room that's occupied, there are restrictions, difficulties in terms of our code compliance people and building inspectors, fire people from being able to access those areas. So we don't really have a full understanding of what else is going on, but you know, we continue to hear about these things, and obviously the applicant has acknowledged it. We're growing concerned that, you know, it's more prevalent than we maybe currently understand. At this point in time, you know, our observation is that there aren't enough resources being thrown at this property. You know, 39 Motel 6s, but I believe that's one collection of hundreds of hotels, correct? That the parent company is recently acquired in the United States.
Yeah.
You know, and you look at that in comparison to the push mower that's being used. You know, there just is not enough resources being dedicated to this property to operate you know, in safe and appropriate or even industry standard conditions. So, you know, our recommendation, you know, at this point is that you know, they need to apply some more resources, and really, I don't know. I think that's maybe everything. I don't know if anybody has anything to add to that. Dean.
All right, thank you, Mr. Copey. I'll now open it up to questions from the board.
Yes, Supervisor?
Yes, Councilwoman Miller.
Thank you. Hi. I have a style where you're going to talk to me a lot right now, so let's go. Where is your HR hub located? Human Resources?
Currently in India.
India?
HR, yes.
Okay. Where do you keep your W-2s for the employees who work there?
Should be. We have a system called Proliant. We keep it in that system.
Okay. How do you administer the trafficking training to employees?
So every time they do it, we get an alert that it's been done. If you haven't done it, we follow up. So we send out a massive emails, or I personally call that training has to be done.
Like online?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Who cleans the rooms? Who maintains the lobby and phones?
Housekeeping. Oh, I thought you were talking about personally. But housekeeping does that, and the guest relation.
Okay. How many people do you have working on the premises full-time, and how many are part-time?
7.
7? 7 full-timers? Okay. How are you paying them?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
You're paying these workers?
Yeah, we are paying this through the same Proliant app. We track their payroll system, the hours they work, and the bank details, whatever they have updated in the profile, we directly pay them.
Okay. How are any of your residents working for you?
Not now. Only we have night support person who is allowed
In-house.
to stay.
Okay.
And other than that, all are the guest officially record as per the record. And majority, I mean, are the regular stayers. Only few of them, like Lamar mentioned, the guest eviction cases.
Yes.
So no in-house.
So I have a place in the policy that if you work for the company, you cannot stay at the property. And that's one thing we identified was a huge concern. Because once you get the termination, I'm not leaving. And it's a real conflict for myself and for the company as policy purposes.
How many of your 7 workers right now live on the premises?
How many of the 7 workers? 1 person, right? NSR 1, 2 of them are staying. 2 of them are staying right now.
How much do you pay them per hour?
It varies from 16 to 21.
How do you advertise your job openings?
Yeah, we do it on
online lingo and plus
And
we
the
advertise.
Craigslist, one of
Craigslist.
the websites, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, Mr. Supervisor. First, I want to say thank you to you guys coming out. I think it's a good step forward. However, I have here a fire marshal inspection report from June 11th. It occurred at 11:07 a.m. And one of the major issues that I saw right off the bat, I mean, I don't know if you're aware, but in 1978 we had a historic deadly fire, the Holiday Inn fire, where 10 people unfortunately died. And one of the major concerns that I saw here is the fire alarm does not call out to a 911 system. It's a local alarm only. Has that been resolved?
We have started the.
Yes, that's been resolved. Mr. Bauer was there on the very next day in the morning, so I was personally present there. And the vendor Action Security, who's in charge of that thing, he already came on the site and then reset the thing.
Okay.
Fire alarm actually worked the way it should be.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
Rick, you got any? Good? You have any, Rick? All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Are you, where do you stay when you guys, so obviously you're not, I take it you don't live in Rochester, right?
No, sir.
Are you staying at the hotel while you're in town?
No, sir.
Why not?
I am in Rochester because they have any more rooms there available. So that's why we didn't normally, we do stay at those hotels.
Okay, interesting. Chief Perina, how does this number of calls to this place compare to the other hotels in the area?
To date, we have well, when I say calls for service, I mean police, fire, and EMS. So as of, excuse me, May 31st, 321 calls.
Can you
now,
say-
that's also, some proactive calls, like we are going there and taking a ride through the parking lot, but that's only 60 of that 320.
I'm sorry, Chief, I didn't get the date between.
From January, I'm sorry, that's for this year. That's 2026.
From January to now?
Yes.
Okay.
And how does that compare to, say, the neighboring hotel, Chief?
The closest one, which is at 500 Center Place, 126.
Over the same period of time?
Yes.
Thank you. I was contacted by a couple from Philadelphia who booked a room online, showed up, were certainly not satisfied with the condition of the hotel. There was no staff working there. They stuck around for 4 hours, hoping that somebody would finally show up so they could get checked into their room. They eventually left, had to get another hotel room. They requested a refund, but was denied because they were told that they did a no-show. Well, they didn't do a no-show, staff did a no-show. So is there, can we talk offline and you could try and rectify that situation?
Definitely. Yes, for sure.
Thank you. I know you said that you put a policy in about preventing long-term tenants. Scott, do we have the ability to put that in as a condition?
Yes.
Thank you. Scott, in your presentation or when you spoke, and thank you for that detail and thank you for all that. I just want to say, this place has taken too many of our town resources, in my opinion. I mean, thank you to the fire marshal for having to be there every day. I mean, that's very important, obviously, for life safety. But for a town of our size to expend this many resources at one place, to me, is extremely troubling. So you, in your excellent report, you mentioned something that stuck out to me that piqued my interest. You said you threatened closure and you finally got some action. Is that correct? Okay. All right. I think that's all I've got for the moment. I need to think about this for a second. Thank you. Ricky, you have any?
Councilman Antelli?
Yes. Thank you, gentlemen, for taking the time. Thank you, too, for the presentation. This was nice to kind of get something. Kind of looking at your section 6, property improvements, timeline going here. Phase 1 immediate with the exterior lighting, signage, phase 2 progress in HV upgrades, phase 3 committed,
remodeling basically. What we are planning to do, remodel it, once the eviction cases are out, because it takes 1.5 months to normal procedure what we are going through. And then we will remodel it, and whatever is required to be upgraded to the system, that's what our planning is. Studio 6 is a new brand of Motel 6. It's more of a hotel, a 2-star category, but at a better and a little highly priced. We want to make it right now. That's what we have wanted to do that. So that's what remodeling will come up with.
So, thank you. So going back to phase 2, what you said is in progress. What are your guys' estimates, the thinking of like how long it's going to take? I mean, I would say A, to get violations of code, compliances kind of set and fixed, but as well as some of the other stuff like the progress. Like, what is your guys' kind of like time frame coming in here? Saying, hey, we purchased it, we took over in March, it's been 3 months now, finally had you in here and everything, like, on your guys' side, what is kind of like you're looking at, what would be your timeline if you were to offer to us to say, hey, in 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, plan on having all this resolved?
Within, most of the things will be resolved in a month, 30 to 50 days in between. It will be resolved. Like landscaping, the fire thing we have already sorted. The rest of the things are sorted over there. Only the main part is the waste management also we have sorted. The more of a manpower, we are still hiring more people to make that place more there. But people come there and due to certain reason, they work for a few days and then they leave. That's the whole scenario right now. Otherwise, we were hiring more people. So that cleaning part, we will be doing that as well.
So then, I guess my question is, why is it taking so long? Seems like you've been operating property now for a few months now. If you're saying 30 to 50 days to get compliance of these done, why are, in your opinion, why are we not in the position tonight where you're coming in saying everything's in compliance, we fixed all this stuff? I mean, I'm just kind of looking. Seems like you guys are a big, company, almost 2,000 hotels, 1.7 billion in revenue. So I would assume you guys have the resources to aggressively, address something that seems to be a pretty big problem.
So soon it will be resolved because now we have aggressively done it. We have tied up the contracts, so everything is there in place. So this, the people have to come and work on it. That's the only part left. So they are given the timelines, their availability, so they are coming over here to do it. That's the whole thing.
Okay, Councilman Bernard?
Yeah, I appreciate it, gentlemen, I do. But I just have to say, I'm sorry, but I think enough is enough. We have a duty to protect the quality of life for our residents, and I think what we heard here tonight from our residents, what we heard from our staff, I think this report presents a very clear picture. Over and over, we have told the hotel owners, we told you gentlemen what we need to be done in order to come into compliance. Over and over, you have said, yes, we'll do those things. Over and over, you failed to do those things. It is now very clear that the only way to get the owner, you gentlemen, to act is to shut operations until you're in full compliance with our code and have addressed the issues that have been clearly laid out to you. I think that's the only way to get your attention. I apologize for that, but I think it is. And I do not believe that at this stage you deserve a special use permit, and I think you should be closed until you get up into compliance for life safety, for quality of life issues, and for our neighbors. That's my opinion. And I would ask, if the supervisors grants it, I would ask if we could, maybe take a quick recess to chat amongst ourselves to come up with a game plan or appropriate language so that we can put forward a resolution from the floor tonight along those lines, unless my colleagues strongly object.
Okay, so we will stand in recess for approximately 5 minutes. We're going to do that right here, so everybody can stay where they are. Yeah, so we'll just do that. We'll stand in recess for approximately 5 minutes.
talk closer. Test, test.
All right. All right, so now we're back in session. Okay. Okay, so we're back in after the recess. I'd like to ask for a motion.
Yes, Mr. Supervisor, I move to continue the public hearing until July 16th at 6 p.m. to allow time for the applicant to address the remaining fire and health code violations, as well as allow for the fire marshal and building inspector to complete their pre-permit inspection of the property. Given the health and safety concerns raised by the, Yes, and then based on the health and safety concerns raised this evening by the public, town staff, and the board, to protect public and to assist the applicant complete its corrective measures and complete their pre-permit inspections, I move that the hotel ceases business operations as of Monday, June 29th at 9 a.m. and remain closed until a special permit is granted by this board.
Okay. So that's moved by Councilman Bernard, seconded by Councilman DePoncio. Mr. Overton, is that one motion or should that be two?
It should be two motions. I think there's a motion to continue the public hearing. That should be separate and
Okay.
distinct from the second motion.
Okay.
for
All right.
discussing
So,
operations.
so what do we have to do procedurally for that?
So effectively, you're gonna have two. You're gonna have somebody move both motions. You'll have a second for each motion. So I think, again, I think there should be initial motion for the continuation of the public
Okay.
hearing.
All right. Should we do that?
Yes.
Over again? Okay. So if you don't mind, if you could do the continuation of the public hearing first, and then we'll do the second motion separate.
Try it for a second time. I move to continue the public hearing until July 16th at 6 p.m. to allow time for the applicant to address the remaining fire and health code violations, as well as allow for the fire marshal and building inspector to complete their permit inspection of the property.
Okay. Moved by Councilman Bernard, seconded by Councilman DePoncio. Is there any discussion? Being none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Councilman Bernard.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Try this again. Given the health and safety concerns raised this evening by the public, town staff, and this board, to protect the public and to assist the applicant complete its corrective measures and complete the pre-permit inspections, I move that the hotel cease business operations as of Monday, June 29th at 9 a.m. and remain closed until a special permit is granted by this board.
Okay, moved by Councilman Bernard, seconded by Councilman DePoncio. Under discussion, if you don't mind, I would just say something very briefly. I think this is a very prudent move on our part. And gentlemen, we want you to be successful. We want you to run a business that is worthy of the town and worthy of the neighborhood there. And you know, for the neighbors and people here, this is going to be a big step on our part. But again, you know, with Acting Chief Perina, our police department is committed to give a very special attention to this, because there are going to be issues with a closed building there, and you know, we're going to do everything we can to stay on top of it, but we also want to work in partnership with the owners. And again, I'm going to be supporting this resolution, and I think it's the right step for us to take. Is there any other discussion? Okay, being none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Item carries. All right, and that concludes the public hearing. We'll give everybody a minute to clear out if they want to, and then what we'll do is we'll start the public forum and go into the regular agenda. If I could just ask if everybody could, you're welcome to carry on your discussions if you wouldn't mind doing it out of the chambers here. And obviously, you're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting if you'd like.
Thank you, I appreciate all your support. You had the nice cherry on top, too.
All right, now we'll continue with the public forum. This is an opportunity to address the Greasetown Board on any issue of concern relative to the town of Greece. This is not a question and answer period, nor is it a time or place for commenting on previous applications that have come before the board. If you have a comment or question concerning an application, or if you would like to provide the board with any type of paperwork, please leave it in the inbox located on top of the lectern. The clerk will obtain all documents after the meeting and disperse them to board members accordingly. Please use the center aisle when approaching the lectern. Each speaker will be allowed 3 minutes to address the board in accordance with the town's civility policy. And again, we'd like people to keep their comments to 3 minutes. And I also want to remind people this is the only time during the meeting to address the board. If you have additional comments or questions that come up during the meeting, please address them to whichever town representative is appropriate. After the meeting, please state your name and address for the record. Is there anyone who cares to address the board? Yep. Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else who cares to address the board? Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else who cares to address the board?
Talked about, and it was alluded to by the last people. Back in the mind. Yeah, I specifically motorcycles, doing burnouts in the parking lot, spotting and hanging out in the parking lot. God knows what they're doing. Dog sales, who knows? And I commend the police department because I felt they're doing a hell of a job. But unfortunately, they can only do a big dip. Cleanup crew. There, they shoot out. The next day, they're right back. Okay? It may not be the very next day, but it's within the proximity of the first time. On days that it was unsafe. It affects our way of life. Yeah, it really is. It reflects on the town of Greece, inability to keep these people out of it. And I think there's a way to do something, perhaps cordon off that parking lot, but they're unable to actually get in there. Perhaps you guys have a solution. But, you know, it goes back to what's happening over there behind, by the hotel situation. Same type of society that's taking over that area. And you know, there's never seen it like that. And I've lived in this town 67 years. Everybody knows my opinion. I'd just like to say that I hope something gets done to address this situation as it draws into eternal litigation with the current owner. My time's up.
If you'd like to summarize, please, go ahead. Go ahead.
That's all I got to say.
Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you.
Before my time starts, congratulations to the new hires that were recognized tonight. I want them to never forget what their oath means. Congratulations to the retirees. My dentist, I mean, awesome. Good evening, Acting Chief Farina, congratulations. My name is Brian Rowe, father, U.S. Marine and former police sergeant for the Greece Police. 2023 with the current GPD administration and former DCGS employees, Mike Wood was able to permanently decertify me as a police officer with no due process. After years of litigation, both the town and DCGS were able to convince a New York State judge that either one decertified me, yet I stand here still decertified. This process cited Mike Wood's 2021 Professional Policing Act several times, but simply put, no one truly listened. Enter New York State Police investigator Andy J.C. I reached out to him in early 2023 when I felt the town of Greece draw a target on my back for the fallout of the Forsyth accident. I met with the investigator and take great pride in being listed as a witness in that police report. February 16, 2022, former RPD investigator Aaron Wilcox attempted to report the same allegations to the New York State Police report to the new Greece, citing official misconduct and stalking to a 911 dispatch, namely the current acting police chief. Nothing happened. Former lieutenant of Greece even went on record stating Greece was covering up a thing again. On the same night, Chief Wood was swearing in former DCs in Elvik, knowing a proper DCGS mandated background wasn't and wouldn't be completed. Let us not forget the infamous loss of a duty handgun issued. Greece Police, Webster Police, and DA's office fumbled this case as well, and nothing was done. Zanelevich was left alone to forge the future of the police. From October 2021 to present, we have seen over 25 officers leave the department. Multiple federal and state lawsuits have been filed, and former deputy supervisor even pled guilty to multiple felonies. Yet here we are, no change. My team tried to shed light on this, even waited until mid-January 2026 to bring up the police report. The same report that was approved by the New York State Police and left on the district attorney's office for action. Yet here we are, no change. I came here tonight to ask why Aaron Wilcox's QSIA was brushed under the rug by your acting chief back in 2022. I also asked why he is being allowed ECGS questioned the reporting and Grease denied, stating Zanellovich resigned. The same day the reporting was made by Gary Craig, citing the state police. Again, I leave everyone with this. How do we ask our police to do the right thing and not be in fear of retaliation when this is what happens to the people?
All right, is there anyone else who cares to address the board?
Today I'd like to start a conversation. Contrast that warning. Mass loss. I'll hear about Big Brother. Ridiculous. Walk around anywhere without being seen on cameras. There was a statement from the guy that prepared for the installation. Ask the town board and every town resident, how does it make you feel? Fine. Driving violation. That per police policy number 426, accessible by law enforcement, archived for another 2. Are you aware that your whereabouts can be shared with including the Department of Homeland Security? That license plate readers, but at least red theoretically today's high-speed LPR, unlimited data storage, travel warrants. They did, they capture, can reveal, and even where we work, how we spend our leisure. The list goes. In addition, vendors like Genetec, with whom the camera services has an enabling. For example, when the Syracuse police opted into law enforcement from every Syracuse drive 4.4 million. Or know what Genetec. How many cameras do we have? Where are they? And why are they there? In September of 2025, had over a million more comments and concerns. Law enforcement.
All right, is there anyone else who cares to address the board? Okay. Okay.
Just a little background, I've lived down the street, 2002, raised 2 daughters there. For a couple Christmases, walking down the street, dinner, and it was great. Tried several times, it feels like, to get that thing going.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board?
Dobson, 1630 Edgemere Drive. How is Steve still
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Crescent Beach Hotel. A little bit of background, you know it's been vacant. The town of Greece had to come in and remove stuff. Town of Greece had to come in on Crescent. That was when the break wall, piled all the concrete break wall, parking lot, kids used to go down, bog it down. Every year the town of Greece up the weeds. Cover it is, years ago, roofing on, bagging new windows, excavating scheme. I started bank stepped in just as I was only RBG. Started putting taxes a year behind. Thank you to Molly, my son. Our department came down, posted the building, gave the owner till June 8th. Town has been in there. Provide those are garbage. Good start. Parking lot, by fours. Still some debris, but the other two lots.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else who cares to address the board? Okay, being none, I now declare the public hearing closed. At this time, we'll proceed with the rest of the agenda. Will the clerk please read the first item on the agenda?
Authorization to enter into various agreements associated with the operation of the library, for further authorization for the supervisor to execute all necessary documentation.
I second.
Moved by Councilman DePonzio, seconded by Councilman Bernard. Is there any discussion? Being none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Item carries.
Item 2, authorization to enter into a 2-year 2026 to 2028 service agreement with Cyrus Vending Services for the library. Further authorization for the supervisor to execute all necessary documentation.
I'll move this resolution as written.
I second.
Moved by Councilwoman Miller, seconded by Councilman Antelli. Is there any discussion? Being none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries.
Item 3, authorization to enter into various agreements for programs associated with the operation of the center. Further authorization for the supervisor to execute all necessary documentation.
I move giving the supervisor authorization to execute all necessary documents for various agreements and programs associated with the operation of the center.
And I'll second the authorization to enter into various agreements for programs associated with the operation of the center.
Okay, moved by Councilman Bernard, seconded by Councilwoman Miller. Is there any discussion? Being none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item carries.
Item number 4, authorization to appoint 2 full-time police officers effective June 11th, 2026.
Mr. Supervisor, I make a motion to authorize the appointment of the 2 full-time police officers, as well as congratulate the 2 officers on their hirement.
I'll second.
Okay, moved by Councilman Antelli, seconded by Councilman DePonzio. Is there any discussion? Being none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item carries.
Item number 5, authorization to appoint Rebecca Karachi to the full-time position of acting assessor effective June 1st, 2026.
I'll second.
Okay, moved by Councilman DePonzio, seconded by Councilwoman Miller. Is there any discussion?
No, just kidding.
All right. Being none, yes, congratulations. Being none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item carries.
Congratulations.
Item number 6, authorization for the supervisor to sign a retirement settlement agreement.
I move to give the supervisor authorization to sign a retirement settlement agreement.
And I'll second.
Moved by Councilman Bernard, seconded by Councilwoman Miller. Is there any discussion? Being none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item carries.
Item number 7, authorization to appoint 1 full-time clerk 1 for GPD effective June 1st, 2026.
I move the resolution as written.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Bernard, seconded by Councilman Antelli. Is there any discussion? Being none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item carries.
Item number 8, authorization for approval of voucher payments for abstract dated May 16th through May 29th, 2026, in the amount of $1,378,239.11, paid via wire transfer, and check numbers 82417 through 82421, 102496 through 102638, and 100039, per resolution number 32 of the April 16th, 2026 Town Board meeting.
I'll move it.
Moved by Councilwoman Miller, seconded by Councilman DePonzio. Is there any discussion?
I'll just repeat what I said at agenda review. I want to thank Director Easterly for providing these audits. They were very helpful, and thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item carries.
Item number 9, authorization for approval of voucher payments for abstract dated May 30th through June 12th, 2026, in the amount of $1,148,114.24, paid via wire transfer and check numbers 82422 through 82438, 102639 through 102778, 100014, and 100040, per Resolution Number 32 of the April 16th, 2026 Town Board meeting.
So moved.
I second.
Moved by Councilman Antelli, seconded by Councilman Bernard. Is there any discussion? Being none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item carries.
Item number 10, authorization for acceptance of the procedural audits for town clerk, tax receiver, and justice courts performed by Mengel Metzger Bar and Company, LLP.
So moved. Second.
Okay, moved by Councilman DePonzio, seconded by Councilman Antelli. Is there any discussion? Okay, being none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item carries.
Item number 11, authorization to make various adjustments and transfers to the 2026 budget, list attached.
I move this resolution as written.
Moved by Councilman Bernard, seconded by Councilman DePonzio. Is there any discussion? Being none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item carries.
Item number 12, authorization for the Department of Public Works to purchase a 3/4 ton extended cab 4x4 pickup utilizing the New York State Auto Marketplace mini bid process.
I'll move it.
I will second it.
Moved by Councilwoman Miller, seconded by Councilman Bernard. Is there any discussion? Being none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item carries.
Item number 13, authorization to bind coverage for property, automobile, and liability insurance with Travelers Insurance. Further authorization for the supervisor to execute all necessary documentation.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Antelli, seconded by Councilwoman Miller. Is there any discussion? Being none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Item carries.
Item number 14, authorization to accept monthly planned giving donations to the Greece Public Library in the amount of $50 from the Wumpels Foundation for the purchase of science fiction and mysteries for teens and the young at heart.
So moved.
I will second.
Okay, moved by Councilman DePonzio, seconded by Councilman Bernard. Is there any discussion? Being none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item carries.
Item number 15, authorization for the police department to purchase an AWD SUV utilizing the New York State Auto Marketplace mini bid process.
I'll move this resolution as written.
I second.
Okay, moved by Councilwoman Miller, seconded by Councilman Antelli. Is there any discussion? Being none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item carries.
Item number 16, authorization to accept $363,078 in lieu of a letter of credit from Air Water Gas Solutions, Inc. for site work at Eastman Business Park, parcel 304.
I'll move the resolution as written.
I'll second.
Moved by Councilman Bernard, seconded by Councilwoman Miller. Is there any discussion? Being none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Item carries. All right, seeing there's no further business to come before the board, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved by Councilman Antelli, seconded by Councilwoman Miller and Councilman Bernard. Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, good night.
Nice job, everyone. Thank you.
Okay.
Are you going to keep your
How's
copy
Mary?
of that? Can I keep one for
Yeah,
the file?
yeah, yeah.
Huh?
Have a good weekend.
Oh!
Thank you for your help today.
Oh, thank you, and I guess we were spared.
Yeah.
Well,